looking to get a Porsche, you probably looked at a 987. And with that, you're gonna have two options. Either the 987.1 or the more modern 987.2. We're gonna be comparing the two differences between them to see which one you should buy. All right, so here we have it, the 987.2 in Cayman form. So immediately from the offset, the main things that you're gonna notice that are different would be the headlights and the bumper here. They're sort of slightly updated with what looks to be almost a bit of a splitter going on, and then just a different shape for this middle, I guess, intake. This is a non-S, and on the 987.1, if it's a non-S, you don't get that central intake, but I think that makes this look a lot better. You can see here the headlights, you can see that they do almost look like a 981. So this doesn't look like an old car at all. But coming around the side, of course, slightly smaller brake discs and calipers, just with this being a non-S. But do you really need an S? Or should you spend the extra money and get something more modern rather than something that could break down on you? Coming up to the back, we've got these rear lights as well, which these sort of follow this body line in here, as well as a different bumper that you could get on the .1, but I think came under the Sport Pack, and it's actually quite rare to find a .1 that has that. And then just coming onto the inside as well, you've got this updated steering wheel, which I think is a big improvement, makes it look a lot more modern than the .1. And this car is a very rare option. It's got carbon pack, so you've got carbon here, here, and across here. That's quite rare actually, with the Sport Chrono. But now I think inside, and also with these buttons, you would have seen on a previous video that I've done that these buttons on the .1s go all crusty and all peel off, but this is a massive upgrade. So another couple of differences that you'll have between the .1 and the .2 is the engines. With the 987.1, which was between 2005 and 2008, you're going to get the M97 or M96 engine, which if you look online, you will hear many stories about IMS, RMS, bore score, and all those sort of horror stories that you hear about, which, having had an engine rebuild on mine, is always something that I'm fearing could happen again, which is a big selling point for the .2, which came in after 2009, because they use I believe it's a DFI engine, which is direct fuel injected, but just means they don't use an IMS in this engine, and you don't have those RMS issues or even bore score issues. So if you want peace of mind, I would say go with the .2 non-S over a .1S, and you'll have many miles of stress-free motoring. Whereas in mine, whenever I hear a new noise, I'm thinking something's gone wrong. In both of them, you can option a manual or an automatic. In the .1, the automatic option was the Tiptronic, which is just usual torque converter type gearbox, whereas if you were to look at the .2, which was the first year that they used the PDK, which is the dual clutch system that they still use now. So that is, if you were looking to get an automatic one, I'd definitely go for a .2, just because you get that superior gearbox. Let's meet up with Ben to see why he bought this car.
It's a good question. Yeah, I like the look of the 981, but I think the 987.2, quite like the look of that. I like the hips, to be honest. Nothing like looking at these in the rear view mirror. But yeah, I mean, 2.9 got some good, I suppose you'd say, feedback on the forums. Yep. You know, no bore score supposed to be, and then yeah, no IMS bearing. So yeah, saw this one and yeah, it was the one. Had a Z4 about 10 years ago, and then had a load of sort of hatchbacks, that kind of stuff. So it's yeah, wanted to get back to the sports car. Wanted a coupe, and yeah, it's loving it so far.
Great. Did you look at the 3.4, one of these?
Yes. Yeah, I looked at the 3.4, the .1. Yeah. And then if anyone's read anything on the forums, you'll know about the bore score, the bore score issue, and I didn't fancy that. And you know, 265 horsepower for the .2 2.9 is plenty for the road. Yeah. You know, it's yeah, more than enough for the road. But yeah, it's got an aftermarket head unit as well, which you probably saw. So yes, makes a big difference. And yeah, it's brilliant to drive.
Well, we'll jump in and we'll be able to see what that 2.9 is like.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're now in Ben's Dot 2, and this is first time sitting in the driver's seat. Straight off, clutch feels a bit lighter. I like this more modern steering wheel.
There's still no buttons on it.
No, it's nice, but yeah, with all Porsches, they're all pretty similar.
Yeah. I mean, you can see how it's just yours with a few tweaks.
Yeah, and it also goes into gear a lot nicer than mine. Mine on first gear is a little grind, so I don't know whether that's just due to age of the gearbox.
When it's cold, first a little bit. I mean, I'm talking like really small amount.
Okay.
You know, stiff.
But the controls just feel like the gear shift and the clutch just feel a lot lighter than mine.
Yeah, it's just so easy to drive.
This would be perfect as a daily. I'll just spin it around here. And I think with those, you've got the headlights are updated as well.
Yes.
Which I think brings it right up to date.
They're still not great. They're still a bit. I've got some Philips bulbs in there, which I like.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be like better bulbs, but it's still not great on the like the sort of field of view. It's still quite a bit dark. Yeah. I mean, you compare it to something with Xenon, it's always going to be a bit worse. But
I think I've got Xenons in mine, so
interesting.
Yeah, I think mine was quite highly spec'd, but is older.
Yeah.
So should you go with something that's not got as much spec but is newer, because it immediately the engine, just the noise feels a lot more refined than that M97 block that I've got in mine. All right, so let's give it a first pull. But in terms of power, I'm not feeling.
Can you feel 20 horsepower?
I mean, yeah, for the road as well. This is. You're not going to need more than this. I'm going to bring it back down. But I like the noise of the engine as well. This is something that you can just. It feels like I could just get in this every day, use it as much as I want, which is why you see some of these with serious mileage.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's not uncommon to see like 120,000, something like that, and people are just daily, especially you see on the forums.
Yeah. I mean, you'll find anything on the forum.
Yeah.
Or with it having slightly less power, if anything, you can enjoy the revs more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does like 70 miles an hour in second gear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Get it above 4,500. There you go.
There you go, and it just opens up another level. And also, the steering feels a bit lighter than mine. That's really nice.
It's got a sport button as well.
Oh, it's got a.
Yeah.
So that's something that you get with the Sport Chrono pack, which
That's
you have
it.
on yours. So
That's it. Pop that.
Let's
You
get
get a
that
bit less
back.
traction control and sharper throttle.
sharper throttle.
Yeah. You'll really notice that actually.
All right, let's give it a
Give that a squirt.
Okay,
See what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, it's just map slightly differently just to give you. That's right, I'd never have that off. That's great. But I think as an argument, because when I was buying mine, it was, for some reason, I just had in my head, it has to be an S, and I couldn't afford.
I was thinking like that for ages.
I couldn't afford the S.
Yeah.
But I think if you're looking at buying one of these, get out to a dealership and try one.
Yeah, spot on.
Because
Spot on.
I'm always thinking about, should I get rid of mine? And I think after driving this, I kind of like that stress-free driving. With mine, as soon as I hear any noise that I've not heard before, I'm thinking the engine's gone again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah, that's fair. I could, yeah.
You don't tend to hear of catastrophic engine failure in the Dot 2.
Well, that was part of the reason why I went for the 2.9, because I could have got a 3.4, maybe some higher mileage. But 2.9, different lining in the cylinders, no IMS. You know, it was like, well, let's try it. This is the first one I saw.
Yeah.
Test drove it, and then I saw the red seat belts as well, of course. So
yeah.
so we went for that. So yeah, no.
But we just get the revs up. Yeah, there is no need for getting an S over this. Don't look at one of these and think it's not got enough power, because this is plenty, and it's answer to the question that I was looking at with this video is, should you spend, if you're spending this sort of kind of money,
Yeah.
should you go for an older S or a newer non-S? I'm thinking the answer is get the more modern car.
Yeah. Yeah, a bit more, a few more toys, and like you say, not much of a power difference.
We're now going to swap cars to see what Ben thinks of the Dot 1. There you go, but straight off the bat, you picked up on the engine.
It cranks a lot, takes a bit more time.
It's a slower cranking car, which makes it feel a bit old.
Well, I tell you, this even just here, the short shifter, that's really interesting. That's just snicks into. Oh yeah.
So we'll do a
Straight over,
same route again.
Top gear exhaust, I hear that.
Yeah. that will be going. That will be going. Because when you're at around 2,000, 3,000 driving through villages, if you were to like put your foot down, it's just resonates inside the cabin a lot.
Yeah. You don't want that. Right. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, that's what you mean about it not feeling quite as stiff.
Not quite as stiff as a pavement.
Still pretty tight, mate.
Yeah.
Like this is. Yeah.
And I mean, if there was any other weather apart from rain, the roof's off.
Exactly. Boy. Oh yeah, that's what you mean about the drone.
Yes, I find that on a spirited drive, fine, because you're up in the revs.
Yeah.
But when you're at this level of the revs, it's just pain.
Yeah, you can see it's got a little bit more, doesn't it? But not.
It's not huge.
That is fun though. It still inspires confidence, doesn't it? You know, any of these. I like the sound of the exhaust, but I can see how if you.
Yeah.
I mean, how old is this car now? What
This is 20. This is 2005, so it's 20 years old.
I mean,
For a 20-year-old car, it's not bad.
You'd never tell.
Something that I was going to mention, I meant the MPG.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of MPG do you get again in yours? You sort of get on a spirited versus a run.
So I did a big run at Christmas.
Yep.
Down to Devon. It was like 180 miles. I got 33 MPG.
Okay.
Not hammering it, but not taking it too easy. But yeah, 33 MPG, which was I'm pretty impressed with that actually. But yeah,
that's very good.
If you I mean, if you're a bit spirited, you'll drop quite a bit lower. But I've yet to take it on track, so I don't know what it's going to do when we get there. But
What's your lowest bit?
I guess around town you're less than 20. Just because but
Whereas I've struggled to see more than 24 or 25 in this, even on a run. So I don't know whether that's just due to the age of the engine, because they are more modern, being more efficient. Whereas this I've seen. But yeah, we're gonna. I think we'll wrap it up there. But thanks for Ben for having us and for letting me drive the car. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Well, you'll never guess what's happened, and I already know exactly. I've just had a little look under the car. That snapped. So that's answered my question. I've just driven Ben's 2.0